Mixer, engineer, arranger, producer, and Grammy winner Ed Cherney is best known for his work with a wide array of different artists, including Bonnie Raitt, Eric Clapton, Bob Dylan, and the Rolling Stones. He was good enough to share some time with us.
Traditionally, what you would do, to the way you'd make a record, is you would get hired, you'd work with a producer, or if you were producing it, you would start on the record and you would do it from beginning to end. You would make every decision, record every note, and every overdub, every edit, and then you would mix the whole record too. And you know, the way the business has changed, for the most part, it doesn't work that way anymore. You know, a lot of popular records have 4 or 5 or 6. You know, if there's 10 or 12 tracks, a lot of times you'll have 12 producers, and you'll see 20 engineers on it that worked on it, and then they may send it to someone to mix the whole thing, or they just may send the single to mix to someone. So that's how they make records. But there's not a lot of great places to work, you know, traditionally as that works. So you find yourself doing a lot more guerrilla recording.
Right.
When I do, I bring my microphones and I bring my my KRK E8Bs.
Right.
And traditionally, you worked in spaces that were studios that were acoustically designed to sound great. With guerrilla recording, you find yourself in a lot of places that don't sound that good. So sometimes you have to really tight mic things and then later build the environment you need to put it in.
Right. So is that almost becoming the norm now?
It's absolutely the norm, and it kind of changed. You know, I'd like to say it was an evolution, and we woke up one morning and it was different. It changed. I think it changed that quickly.
So have you been mixing much like independent artists, like people who record everything in their studio or at home and send you stuff?
You know, I do a lot of that, and you know, you have to really diversify in this environment.
Right.
Typically, most of my work came from major labels. Myself and a lot of my contemporaries, that's not necessarily the case, you know, maybe 50%. So you know, you get calls from, you know, from a lot of different people. So mixing, I get sent a lot of, you know, tracks from all over the place that people have recorded at home, however they've done it, and here, could you straighten this out for us?
Right, right. And what are the most common mistakes people are making with the files?
You know, it gets challenging because a lot of times, you know, traditionally what happened is the way you became an engineer and a producer is you came up through a studio and you typically had a mentor and you served kind of an apprenticeship. So you learned a lot of things from people that had a lot of experience. And there's a lot of people now, because so many studios have closed down and the business has contracted. There's a lot of kids doing it that never had the opportunity to sit behind a really great engineer and producer. So that being said, a lot of times they're guessing. So you get things, I mean, typically for me, a lot of times because of digital audio workstations, you know, we'll be agnostic about whether it's Pro Tools or, you know, whatever, you know, whatever it is.
Fruity Loops.
Yeah, if it's Fruity Loops or whatever it is, a lot of people don't necessarily make decisions, so you get handed a mess sometimes. You know, a lot of times, a lot of tracks that maybe they wanted to use some of it, so I'm finding myself having to do some forensic engineering a lot of times. It takes up a lot of time to go back and figure out what they did, what's there, what they want to use. And I find myself a lot of times that I think they're coming to me to make some of those arrangement decisions, to clear things out. You know, maybe you know, maybe you don't need the 8 guitars and keyboards in that, you know, in the breakdown verse. So you end up clearing things out and trying to make it dynamic.
So you're producing at that point?
Yeah, a lot of times, but uncredited.
Right.
But you know, that's part of your responsibility. That's what you do, and I think the most important thing is you serve the song and you serve the music, and you serve the people that make it, and that's what you do, whatever it takes. You know, you can always say no, and you know, and a lot of people, and I have done it. You know what? You need to take this back. You're not ready for me to do it yet. Why don't you clean it up and make you know, make some decisions? That being said, another problem I can hear a lot of times is people are using speakers in some environment and they're not hearing everything that's there. I'm getting things with a lot of extemporaneous noises and buzzes and hums and even frequency shapes that I could tell that they absolutely weren't hearing, you know, with big boomy bass or, you know, something really bright or a lot of mid-range and, you know, a lot of nasty sounding recordings. So, you know, when I talk to people, I think it's important to find speakers. Maybe, you know, you have to spend a few more bucks, but get some speakers that you could hear what's going on and you're just not, that you're just not guessing. So it's really important.
Are there any speakers you'd recommend?
They're all crap. You know what? It's speakers that you get used to do balances, but you certainly need some full range speakers. You need some speakers that you're going to be able to hear down to 50, 60 hertz, and you're going to need to hear up on top. Up to 15K. It's important to hear that. And at the same time, I get a lot of things that people that with less experience that tend to maybe over compress and over EQ when they're recording. And I think sometimes you have to be a little more judicious because you can't take over compression and over EQ away. Once it's on there, you're kind of stuck with it. Right. So you're better off filling the meter, getting a good full range recording, and then you can make choices, and then you can over compress it when you mix it. It's very difficult times for a lot of people in this business. And you know what? I say screw it. For the most part, I don't care. I'm not, we all go through these periods of doom and gloom, and people that do this can be especially sensitive anyway. But you find a way to do it for the love of it and the joy of it and being with people that you care about. Right. And, and live your life and enjoy it and have a good time and let the rest will shake out and take care of itself. But if you do good work, you'll be recognized, and I think things will take care of themselves. Right.